State confirms a juvenile accused of killing a Washington tourist was in a monitoring program operated by Orleans Juvenile Court.
As Rob Masson reports, that program no longer exists.
Jacob Carter was a bagel shop owner from Washington State, killed in Bywater 7 months ago.
Really sad knowing that one of the brightest lights in this community is now gone.
Fox 8 confirmed that Carter's alleged killer, 16-year-old Malik Cornelius, was supposed to be being monitored from his cell phone by a company called Repath when the crime was committed.
But a phone app in the way it was used in juvenile court is just an invitation for disaster.
Critics say cell phone monitoring should only be used for low-level offenses, and juvenile court has suspended it. Unsupervised monitoring has been a chronic and often deadly problem in juvenile court.
Historically, our problem with juvenile court Orleans is that we didn't have a clear line of communication to the court that we could rely on to make sure that these juveniles were following the rules.
Since Fox 8 reported last week that tour guide Christy Thibodeau was allegedly killed by a 15-year-old wearing an unsupervised ankle monitor, reform appears to be underway. 2 juveniles have been placed under an active supervision program run by ASAP Release in the last 4 days, with unsupervised monitors being eliminated under guidance from the Attorney General, State Police, and the NOPD.
They are enrolled in our program. We are coordinating with the Attorney General's office, local law enforcement, and working to make sure that these individuals follow the court's order and stay out of trouble.
It is not uncommon for juvenile offenders on monitors to move from one jurisdiction to another, and that's why monitoring experts say it's important to establish a statewide network to react when necessary.
State police needs to have access all across the state because people are leaving jurisdictions, going into other jurisdictions and committing crimes.
Monitoring reform activists say it now appears that law enforcement across the state is working together.
Having the Attorney General in the loop has created a conversation where we have this hub of communication that I think pretty much guarantees we're not going to break down.
They say more accountability in the juvenile justice system could help reform some offenders and will likely save lives by providing consequences that all too frequently have failed to occur. And Malik Cornelius is being tried as an adult for the alleged second-degree murder of Washington bagel shop owner Jacob Carter. A hearing for Cornelius is set for next month. We reached out to Repath for this story, but have not heard back.